So one of the things I did want to talk about here with Forza Horizon 1 is simply down to me being a brand new player and also a first-time player on this game in 2026. So I have pretty much never played Forza Horizon 1 ever before, so for me it really is a brand new experience. And with that, one of the biggest things I wanted to really do in this game, bro, was to see how the progression is, because I always heard and seen so many comments about Forza Horizon 1's progression being like one of the best things ever, or at least the best in the entire series. So I will be honest here and say Forza Horizon 1 really did kind of surprise me a bit with how the overall progression design was, because again, I've saw so many comments about people talking about this game saying, man, I wish every Forza went back to this one. Why can't they go back to Forza Horizon 1's model? And it kind of always made me go, I wonder what that exactly means, bro. Is it really that good? Are you really earning everything in the game? Like, how's the overall design of the progression? And I gotta admit, guys, it's honestly pretty dang great with how they designed this game, and I can see why a lot of people love it. For one, being a first-time player, one thing I did like is kind of right off the bat, you would see some showcase events pop up, which I am going to do a separate video on these showcase stuff. Do stay tuned for that, as I still have a few more I need to do, but some of them you'll have to race against some crazy things, obviously, than other ones you will do like manufactured type of races, at least that's how I looked at it. For example, you have to drive like a Peugeot where a certain car and all the other cars are the same, but once you end up winning that race, the game would give you the car, which I thought was pretty dope. I do like how you have to go in and you can earn vehicles that way, or, you know, a lot of the racing games would go, hey, bro, we want you to start racing over here, so here's 25K or whatever, pick your starting vehicle type of thing and jump in there. And in this game, you'll jump in there and obviously be able to get some free cars from doing these events, which is awesome. Some of the other things I did notice, though, is you will obviously have the 1v1 type of races to where you'll have to race against one other car. And once you beat them, you will end up being able to unlock that said vehicle, which is also something I really did enjoy there. But I gotta admit, doing the overall race structure, you obviously start in the first wristband, and every single one that you unlock, you will get more races unlocked for those that will range in different classes. For example, B, A, S, R2, R3. You'll have all kinds of vehicles that you'll have to use in those, like, for example, Bentley only, Ferrari only muscle cars from like the 80s or something like that. So there's a big mix of races there that pop up, and in some of them you might have to go out and buy a vehicle for those, unless you end up getting lucky in these street race hubs, which is something I had to mention, which is basically a secondary hub you guys will be able to find. I believe there's 3 of them. I think it's around 3 of them at least. There might end up being more, but each of them has around 8 to 10 races at least. I've only seen about 3 so far, being toward the end of the game, but either way, once you end up doing around all 8 or so, might be a little bit more races in there. These give you a lot of money, which is funny because I was grinding a few of them a little bit, because some would be like 2.5 minutes, you get like 50K, and it was really nice to have that little boost earlier on in the game, man, to be able to farm those. And I thought that was pretty dope. But once you end up completing all of those races, you then have like a almost similar to a wheel spin type of thing of a car you can get. It'll spin through it, land on one, and boom, you will get yourself a free vehicle. The street race thing is something I really did like, guys. I'm not going to lie. Very cool, kind of like side thing. Instead of doing the main race, you can go in there, like stack a bunch of money, and then go buy cars for the main part. It was kind of like a cool little thing you could throw in there for extra progression or get yourself some extra money if you're looking to do that. Kind of take a pause away from the main races in the single player. You know what I'm saying? So I did like the way that was designed. But one of the other things that this game also had, guy, I have to mention this because it did make me laugh, is obviously we all do know the barn finds. There's a total of 10 of them. Actually, there's 9. I said 10. There is 9 in this game that you can get yourself some vehicles by, simply finding the barns. Those will unlock when progressing through the game itself. You'll see them pop up on your map and yada yada. I did end up getting like an old Mercedes 300 SL, which was a pretty dope car. But one thing that made me laugh super hard, bro, was the second car I got. You all ready for this? Everybody makes fun of all the new Forza games for having crazy vehicles you get way too quick. The second barn find I got, bro, was literally a Bugatti EB. It was literally a Bugatti. Now, one thing everyone probably did take note of, at least I did immediately with Forza Horizon 6 coming, is you obviously got the Bugatti, dope, but you really could not actually use this car for a little while until you got farther into the S races that allowed you to use this vehicle, and you can obviously upgrade this thing past S if you want to, because, this thing is obviously quick. But you pretty much can't use the car in the beginning, similar to Forza Horizon 6, which I think in that game, though, They might end up making it a tad crazier where you can't use the super or hypercars or whatever until way later on in the game, which I could kind of see where they got that from in this one. But I really do think for the most part, one thing I really did like though is the amount of cars the game would end up giving you when doing the races and just simply progressing through the game. So obviously, as I mentioned, guys, you have the street race hub. You can make money there. You can go do the barn finds. You can also go do the 1v1s, which will pop up periodically throughout the entire story. You can win cars. You have vehicles you can win, like, for example, the Dodge Challenger 392. Okay, you get yourself a Lamborghini Diablo. You get yourself a Lexus LFA, a Nissan GTR. These are all very cool cars you'll be able to get if you can win the 1v1 against them as you go through the campaign. I really did enjoy this, as those cars can help you then progress in the main story races even more by not having to buy those cars, but you can put the money you get into the overall upgrades of the vehicle. I really love how a lot of this stuff actually plays together in a way, and I was noticing that a lot in this game, to where you could get something, go, okay, well, I can't use that, but I can put this in there toward my next vehicle and just get like a free car that way, or at least, use that money toward a different vehicle that I needed to get. Like, I have to buy a Bentley. Well, I get a free S-rated vehicle here. I'll go buy a Bentley and, kind of go through there. Definitely very cool. One of the other parts I noticed about the progression standpoint that I didn't even realize until like my fourth wristband, make fun of me if you want, is that the Horizon hubs, you could do the PR stunts that would allow you to fast travel for free. Make fun of me if you want, but I did not even realize this at first, and when I did, I kind of laughed. You have to do an event that makes you take like a photo of a vehicle somewhere. Then you have to do like a stunt type of thing to where you have to get a certain amount of points in that time limit along one of the courses, or like a specific route or something. And then you have to do like a speed trap or something like that in a different car. Once those are done, you then get a free fast traveling point to those hubs, which is honestly really dope. Again, it's like a small little progression thing. I pretty much went through and did every single hub first. Once I actually found them, I'd go through, do all of those. That way I could fast travel around a little bit faster, get to other points of the races quicker, and kind of just, get through different events quicker that way, instead of, having to drive across the whole map, which, don't get me wrong, in this game is pretty dang easy to do because it is so fun. But one of the things I really like, though, is this game really did hit so many areas of progression that we just simply don't see in a lot of modern racing games, man. Now, is it the best progression system ever that you'd see, like, starting from the bottom in Midnight Club Los Angeles or something, bro? Honestly, I kind of laugh because this game for me was a bit similar to Forza Horizon 2 in a way, but it was still very... I think it was structured better, to be real, in this game, at least from a new player perspective. I feel like 1 really had the overall design structure basically to a T, because you had to start in a slower vehicle, you progress, you then get, like, let's say Subaru, which is something I noticed in the beginning. He was like, hey, you kind of need one of these cars for the next race, so I did end up picking the Subaru. I then had to do a race in that car, then right after I was able to unlock like a 1v1 to unlock the Ford Raptor, and I was able to use that truck in different races, and then, mess around with the Subaru and pick different vehicles, eventually make a little bit more money, buy another vehicle. What's funny though, guys, about this is, I have to be real, I didn't buy a lot of cars in this game, bro. That was one thing I really noticed about it. A lot of the cars I do currently have in the game were basically given to me from doing races and progressing through, whether that was getting a few cars from the street hub thing, which I think you can only get 3 from that, as there's only 3 of those main things you can get, like, after all the races. Then you can obviously do the 1v1s and also the showcase races. Those all give you vehicles on top of that, guys. We're ranging something like a Corvette. You can get something like a Peugeot, as I mentioned before. There's all kinds of different vehicles, because once you complete that, like, for example, the Audi rally car looking thing, once you complete these showcase, or you quote unquote win them, whether you're racing a plane or you're pretty much just racing a bunch of cars that you are in, like the said manufacturer vehicle, you get all of those. So if there is around 10 showcase events, that's 10 vehicles you will be able to get from that, and also all the 1v1 cars you can also get, which is dope. And then of course on top you also get all the barn find vehicles, so there is a lot of cars and a lot of things to earn. But what's really cool, though, is you basically have to progress through the entire game to get all of this stuff unlocked, bro. Like, all the cars aren't just there, which I do find that to be really fun. I'm not going to lie. I think it's really cool to be able to unlock cars just flying through the campaign, doing races, getting all kinds of vehicles from the showcases, or being able to get them from the 1v1. Personally, guys, those 2 types of events are awesome. I think being able to give you a car that can help you for the next part, or help you have a vehicle for the next part of the campaign, is dope, but also it's not a new thing. Like, people are like, oh my goodness, that's groundbreaking. Well, the thing is, a lot of old games pretty much did that, whether that was Need for Speed, Midnight Club. You would normally get a car that you would unlock or something. Like, for example, in Carbon, you'd end up getting a car after completing the final boss in that part. You can then hopefully get the ticket for the vehicle. You can then use that car in the next part because it's upgraded. That way you don't have to buy one. And the game kind of helps you, quote unquote, progress through the entire game. And it's a really great design. I feel like a lot of racing games could follow it. But one thing I really do enjoy, though, is simply down to the fact of playing Forza Horizon 1 as a brand new player. Guys, we all do know Forza Horizon 6 is literally next month, and from playing this game, I really feel like they kind of took a lot of design aspects from this game. So I'm super interested to see what else they do in the game itself with different things, whether it's like, unlocking other cars or different things tied to certain stuff. I really can't wait to see how they do it in that game because I do think the overall structure of Forza Horizon 1 really has been amazing. And you know what? I'm not even going to lie here, guys. It also has kind of kept me locked in a way because I am going through the story, getting a bunch of cars I can earn, doing the 1v1s, doing all these events, being able to earn vehicles to help me move over to the next wristband and get more events unlocked, to then use other cars. The overall structure really is fun because it keeps you engaged in wanting to play and getting all these vehicles, but earning, feeling like you're actually progressing through and not just, having all these random cars, all kinds of random races. Everything's like, okay, well, you have this car and this car. You can now use those in that event. You can only use certain cars in this event. I just think that's really dope with how they designed it. Oh, and speaking of the other part of that, though, this game does have the exploration side of it. Not as crazy as, like, the newer Forzas, which I do know in Forza Horizon 6, they are kind of working on this a bit, obviously, to make it so you can progress through the campaign, but also you can explore and do different things, which, honestly, guys, I think having a side of both there is a really good balance. I have to be real on that. But I did like being able to get the upgrade boards in this game that would allow you to get cheaper upgrades on your vehicles. Spending less money is always a good thing when you're trying to progress or get certain vehicles you want, or even, using certain upgrades, not wanting to spend a lot of money. It's similar to how the newer Forzas kind of upgraded that to the upgraded that, wow. But they basically made it so you'd be able to get the fast travel cheaper, which I did notice each Forza game after that did kind of start to do something, similar to that design. On top of it, you get the XP boards that help you level up and stuff. But to be honest, guys, I think having a mix of the overall exploration thing with having the really good story structure of being able to progress and just feel like you're earning every single vehicle that you get while going through the entire story thing is a really great design. It makes me super excited for Forza Horizon 6. And I gotta admit, being a first-time Forza Horizon 1 player, I can definitely see why so many people love this game and the structure behind the progression and why it's so talked about even to this day.